I have a little more freedom to speak my mind than I did as a pastor, and maybe you'll feel a little flavor of that this morning. I'll tell a little bit more about my story and my journey, but Wednesday of this week I was visiting in a skilled nursing facility here in Nampa. And the social worker gives me a list of individuals to contact. There's 85 residents at this facility. Usually I get 3 or 4 people, maybe they're new to the facility, they're in transition, they may have gotten a recent bad diagnosis, and they're terminally ill or they're dying. And Wednesday when I showed up, she gave me the census list, and it looked like a blizzard had hit. There were stars, snowflakes by just about every name. I thought, what am I going to do with this? So I felt I had the freedom to visit pretty much anybody I wanted to. And I was walking down the hall, and I looked in one room, and there was a resident in a wheelchair, wrapped in a blanket, just sitting there, wide awake, but just sitting there. Walked in and introduced myself. On Wednesdays, I work as a chaplain for Mercy Hospital, so I wear my Mercy badge, and I introduced myself, and he said, I used to be a chaplain at Mercy Hospital. I said, tell me the story. He said, I pastored for 60 years, a number of different churches. I worked hard. In addition to pastoring, I think it was a bivocational pastor most of the time. He said, I ran a body shop with my son. I built show cars. And he told me about some of the show cars he built. $150,000 for a show car they built. He said, I worked all the time. He said, I can't believe my life has come to this disastrous end. I thought, there's a story here. I need to know some of this story. Here's a retired pastor, 85 years old, sitting in a wheelchair, cannot do anything for himself. Everyone provides for his physical needs, and he's sitting there, believing that his life has come to a disastrous end. He looked at me and said, do you know how to play? Well, most of you don't know me well enough to answer that. Yeah, see, I spell play W-O-R-K. I love to work. When he started talking to me, I said, oh, that sounds familiar. I know what you're talking about. He said, I worked and worked and worked and worked. He said, I only have 2 friends. So I have no friends, just maybe 2 special friends. Nobody comes to visit me. He said, I have 6 children. He said, do your children still go to church? He said, actually, he said, are they still in the church? And I said, well, they attend. They're not, they're not church workers. They don't work for the church. He said, I've got 6 kids. None of them go to church. So tell me the story. He said, well, my children, and if I step on any toes, this is where it's going to hurt. He said, my children, they saw how parishioners treated me. They saw how mean the parishioners were to their dad, the pastor. They're angry. They're bitter. They don't want to have anything to do with church. I said, yeah, I know. We don't go through the experience of serving the congregation without experiencing the scars and pain in those scars.